but we encourage an even more focused habit. Give away the first 10% of your profit to those who need it. Do it first. Do it fast. Do it foremost. Do it with a giving heart.
But here's the caveat. Be careful how you give. In a capitalistic society, every expenditure of money can be viewed as an investment. Giving can be mistakenly viewed as a way of depositing your money in the bank of higher power while praying for a better and more immediate return on your investment. We suggest that you don't treat giving or tithing or charitable donations this way. Don't count your hoped-for profits that higher power will deposit into your future bank account. Don't expect higher power to bless you with more money because you bought a higher-powered certificate of deposit. Don't claim your inheritance in heaven as part of the trillion that you will eventually get because you kept the commandments here. May we humbly suggest, don't think of your charitable giving as a return on your investment. Today, 1.3 billion people earn less than $1 to live on. Half of the world's population lives on less than $2 a day. Compared with them, you're already so wealthy. It is only in comparing your house or car or job to the rich elite in your own city or country that you might feel poor. But to the rest of the world, you are the elite rich. Many of the world's poor would sacrifice a kidney to trade places with you, as financially strapped as you might think you are. In truth, because of your health or your citizenship or your education or your opportunities, you've already received a vast fortune from higher power. You're already living the blessed lifestyle. You've already won the lottery. Be so grateful for what you have already received that you voluntarily agree to pay it forward for the rest of your life, without expecting a penny back. It is from this place of overflowing gratitude that your enlightened million-dollar successes begin. When your giving truly becomes a privilege and not an investment, then higher power discerns that you can handle money and will bless you with even more.
H, higher power. The H in the word light stands for higher power. 95% of North Americans believe in a higher power, although they may use different descriptions. For most people, even the mention of higher power is politically incorrect. Many business leaders, afraid of offending their customers, keep their own spiritual views private. But in our experience, people are hungry for a spiritual approach to business. The world is ready for it. We believe that business is spiritual. Money is spiritual. Everything is spiritual. Materialism is only grossly material when it is grossly negligent, grossly selfish, and grossly greedy. But material things invested in the most valuable assets, people, in helping resolve their needs, is the most spiritual thing you can do. If your profits are infused with spirit, higher power can direct you where the money is to be sent.
Cracking the wealth code. Your enlightened enterprise is a locked vault. Higher power knows the code. Higher power knows the exact numbers, the exact sequence. Higher power knows the fastest way to unlock your door. You can take the slow way and discover the same code for yourself. It's called trial and error. If you have enough time and enough money, you can test 1,000 products and find the one that seems to have the greatest market potential. 95% of them will potentially fail. You can also imitate other people's products to borrow the codes that they've cracked through trial and error. You can study the general principles of business and marketing and apply these concepts to your ideas. You can learn a lot from your own experience, about which the codes seem to work most of the time. Over a lifetime, you can become a code cracker, able to figure out how to get inside your own vault. But there's a source for your perfect code right now. Higher power knows the secret numbers to every vault of your business. Higher power knows which ideas to focus on and which ideas to forget. Higher power knows which team members to assemble and which ones you need to let go. Higher power knows which marketing messages will reach the right people immediately. The combination of marketing words is every bit as important and powerful as a combination of numbers on a safety deposit box. If done in the right order and the right combination, the words of your marketing message open up vast fortunes much more quickly and more easily. So the code is unlocked. It is revealed to you number by number by number, so that you can create a product that is enlightened and will be recognized by those customers who are destined to see it. They say, "That's it! I knew that was it." They follow their intuition, not even knowing why. They literally come to you slowly at first, but then bring their friends with them. "Come, Jim, Kim, Fred, Maria, come. I found a product, an enlightened product. You've got to see this." It is an enlightened word of mouth. The business starts to grow. How could it not grow? The only danger is that the enlightened entrepreneur loses sight of where the business is actually coming from. He or she begins to feel it's his or her own brilliance or hard work that brought it all about. The cholesterol of greed starts flowing in their veins, and the plaque of pride starts to build up in their arteries. They stop giving, they start hoarding. And that brings on the inevitable heart attack. The stroke of selfishness blocks them from the thoughts that could enlighten them. That's why enlightened entrepreneurs need the constant nourishment of the nutrients of an enlightened life. The nutrients of humility, the nutrients of gratitude, the nutrients of openness and positivity, the nutrients of happiness and the nutrients of joy, the nutrients of faith, the nutrients of trust, the nutrients of connection with your higher power.
T. Trustee of Residual Philanthropy. The T in the light principles represents the word trustee. In the legal world, a trustee is someone who holds the assets of a trust to distribute them to the beneficiaries. You are the trustee of your wealth. Your enlightened fiduciary responsibility is to maximize the assets of the trust for your loved ones and for generations of future beneficiaries. Capitalism is all about ownership of real property or intellectual property. With enlightened capitalism, it's not ownership that counts, it's stewardship. Stewardship or trusteeship is about achieving success because you don't want to own anything. You simply want to control the flow of it through you. You then become the temporary custodian, not the permanent owner. You make it, enjoy it, use it, take good care of it, maintain it, clean it up, improve it, and then prepare it to hand off to the next generation or the next custodian. The capitalistic concept of ownership is really based on scarcity. There's only one of these. I own it, you don't. I have the power, you don't. Stewardship is very different. It's founded on abundance. When you get $1 million idea and realize that you're stewarding it for all the rest of humankind, that it really enlarges you. You are abundantly receiving brilliant ideas so that you can share them as quickly as you possibly can with the rest of humanity. As Dr. Buckminster Fuller said, sharing is having more. People who become good stewards do it for themselves or family, then their state, then their country, then the world.
The poster boy for enlightened wealth is Mr. Paul Newman. In 1982, Paul Newman and his lawyer friend, A.E. Hotchner, launched a business called Newman's Own. It was dedicated to selling Paul Newman's special brand of natural salad dressing with the goal of donating all their profits to charity. They broke all the traditional rules of marketing and good business practices and still ended up earning over $1 million in profit in their first full year of business. Today, over 20 years later, they're closing in on $200 million worth of enlightened profit and climbing. Question: where did the original idea for Newman's salad dressing originate? If you say that it was Newman's fame that made the company successful, then ask a deeper question. Where did Newman's fame originate? Did higher power know, decades earlier when Paul Newman was a nobody, graduating magna cum laude from nowhere, Canyon College, that he would parlay his eventual fame into an ongoing residual philanthropy that would give away hundreds of millions of dollars? Newman calls it the shameless exploitation in pursuit of the common good. This is a model that anyone can duplicate. The world has known lots of economic models. Monarchism, feudalism, socialism, communism, capitalism. It's time now for a new model. The next wave is enlightened entrepreneurship, where you come from abundance, you create massive value for other people, and you leave a legacy. This is an audiobook about creating massive, passive cash flow for yourself and for the world. If you think you can handle the prosperity that higher power is ready to shower on you, then listen on.
Chapter 2, The 4 Key Wealth Codes. Have you ever had $1 million idea? Did you ever say to yourself, hey, that's a great idea? Then let the idea fade away without acting on it, only to discover several months later that someone else had capitalized on your idea. Most of us have great ideas, yet we simply don't know what to do with them. Ideas are the seeds of future fortunes. Sometimes a simple idea can even grow into billions. In the summer of 1990, on a train to London, Joan Rowling got her $1 billion idea. As she relates it, all of a sudden, the idea for Harry just appeared in my mind's eye. I can't tell you why or what triggered it, but I saw the idea of Harry and the wizard school very plainly. I suddenly had this basic idea of a boy who didn't know who he was, who didn't know he was a wizard until he got his invitation to wizard school. I have never been so excited by an idea. As soon as she began to write, her life was thrown into turmoil by a series of events. The death of her 45-year-old mother from multiple sclerosis, her marriage to an abusive husband, a miscarriage, the birth of her first child, a divorce, being fired, trying to raise a child on government welfare. 4 years after the initial Harry Potter brainstorm, J.K. Rowling, as she now calls herself, decided to do what she was destined to do and wrote the book that would make her a billionaire and the richest woman in England. Did you ever have an idea like that? Did you know what to do with it? In May 1994, the same year that 28-year-old J.K. Rowling was toiling to finish Harry Potter, a 30-year-old researcher was sitting at his desk in a New York skyscraper. As he read reports about the growing internet phenomenon, an idea struck him. It was a wake-up call. I started thinking, okay, what kind of business opportunity might there be here? Fueled by this hunch, he quit his job, borrowed his parents' life savings, drove his wife to Seattle, and launched Amazon.com from their rented 2-bedroom house. 5 years later, Jeff Bezos was Time Magazine's Person of the Year, as well as a billionaire 10 times over. By this time, billionaire Bezos had sold a lot of billionaire Rowling's books.
Think of how many success stories begin with a simple, single idea. Michael Dell started his company, Dell, from his college dorm room. 20 years later, he was the world's youngest billionaire. Sam Walton opened the first Walmart store in Rogers, Arkansas in 1962. Today, Walmart's proud of the son. This largest retailer in the world gives over $100 million in charitable contributions annually. All this from a simple idea of everyday low prices, and yes, a lot of hard work. There are thousands more unknown millionaires and multimillionaires who turned ideas into huge fortunes. Have you heard of these names? Frank Woodward, Jacob Davis, Ida Rosenthal, Earl Tupper, Margaret Rudkin. Today, either at home or at work, you will most likely pass by one or more of these products. Jell-O, Levi's, Maidenform bras, Tupperware, Pepperidge Farm.
Just as Frank Woodward came up with Jell-O, we believe that you too have $1 million idea that could eventually be a household name. Cracking the Millionaire Code is not just another audiobook on how to turn ideas into millions. This is an audiobook on how you can discover the fastest possible way for you to create enlightened wealth. We believe that you were born to have an enlightened $1 million idea, an idea that is unique and special to you. Your enlightened opportunity can generate fortunes for you and for dozens, perhaps hundreds of others. It can provide livelihoods for hundreds, even thousands of employees. It can create residual philanthropy to bless the lives of tens of thousands, perhaps millions of people. The fastest and perhaps the only way for you to accomplish this is to build upon the principles of enlightened wealth.
They shall burn.
Irma Rico. Irma Rico has done the impossible. Born one of 7 children to migrant worker parents, she knew in her heart that field work offered her no future. She was told that only men needed an education. But instead of going along with that idea, she educated herself. In Fresno, California, 17-year-old Irma read an advertisement for a dental assistant. When she applied for the position, the dentist asked her if she had training as a dental hygienist. She did not. She countered his quick rejection by saying that she spoke eloquent English and Spanish, where he did not. And he needed her because most of his patients were Spanish-speaking. 3 days later, he called and hired her. Irma Rico learned fast and became a great asset to the dentist she worked with. In very limited spare time available to a single mom with 2 small children, Irma, sometimes working 3 jobs just to feed her kids, earned her GED, high school equivalency degree. When she took a job selling radio advertising in Fresno, she discovered she had a great talent for selling. She also saw great potential in the underserved Hispanic market. She knew from personal experience that even when English-speaking Hispanics get home, they want to listen to Spanish-speaking radio and watch Spanish-speaking television and read in their native language. She wisely, actively, and aggressively sought out that market. Her successes came to the attention of her influential peers. They asked her if she wanted to be an owner and partner, putting together independent, small Hispanic television and radio stations with print media around the country. She did. Being part of a minority helped her group to buy their first FM station in Fresno. She struggled to put together her $3,000 investment to add to her sweat equity for station ownership. After Fresno, Irma and her colleagues acquired stations in Dallas, Denver, Providence, Rhode Island, and everywhere. Over an 8-year period, their little network became Univision, now the biggest Hispanic broadcaster in America. Before going public for $720 million, they offered Irma Rico a $500,000 buyout package. She did not accept, but gambled and won big. That day, Irma was driving to a sales call when the shares opened at $16.50 each, and her net worth instantly soared to $20 million. The money changed her life, ending all her stress and anxiety about her tomorrows. She bought homes in Mexico, a bigger home in Denver. She opened a marketing agency dedicated to reaching the Hispanic market. She became a major Disc 2.
How to crack the wealth codes. To transform an idea in your head into a stream of checks into your mailbox, you will need to crack the 4 specific wealth codes of an enlightened enterprise. Code 1, the Destiny Code. Code 2, the Prism Code. Code 3, the Angel Code. Code 4, the Star Code. Each code is essential to your success, although not all of them need to be cracked at once or in any specific order. The following description is just a brief taste. We'll get to the full course meal later on.
The Destiny Code. To crack the Destiny Code, you must discover your unique place in the universe. You arrived here on planet Earth, encoded with divine DNA, a specific set of talents, gifts, opportunities, connections, and sensitivities. We believe you have a destiny to fulfill. There's music in you, a song you are destined to sing, an instrument you are destined to play in the symphony of life. Some people discover their destiny quickly. Some take decades to do so, and others never even look for it. When you tap into this pure vein of gold, you become who you're born to be. Psychologist Abraham Maslow called it self-actualization. More recently, best-selling author Rick Warren called it the purpose-driven life. Whatever you call it, you'll know it when you find it. You'll just sense that you are doing what you're born to do. Money flows faster for you. But you don't do what you're doing just for the money. Quite the contrary. You would do it for free if they weren't willing to pay you so much. Those who crack the Destiny Code are the truly wealthy. Everyone else is a wannabe. Aren't we all wannabes? Until we finally realize who we really are.
The Prism Code. Destiny is the path you choose. Prism is the vehicle you navigate down that path. Prism is our description of the specific product or service that sets you apart, that displays your talents and gifts to the world. When you've discovered your Prism, you don't earn a living, you earn a loving. Your Prism refracts your talent into a kaleidoscope of income streams. The same year that J.K. Rowling was starving to write Harry Potter and Jeff Bezos was scrambling to launch Amazon.com, another billion-dollar business was being born. Ty Warner owned a fairly successful toy business, but an idea was brewing inside him for a new, inexpensive, cute plush toy. He called it the Beanie Baby. Little did he realize that Beanie Babies would become the fastest-growing collectible toy in history and would land him on the Forbes list of the 100 richest people in the world. Although you may hear talk of the bursting of the Beanie Baby bubble, the toys still bring in $750 million a year. Not bad for a simple idea, brilliantly executed. Now Ty Warner is using his billions to fund other acquisitions and charitable causes. The code he cracked to launch Ty into the stratosphere is what we call the Prism Code. It was a unique way of breaking through the confusion of the toy market. Mr. Warner is a very private person who rarely gives interviews. But if we could interview him, we bet he would tell a fascinating tale of how the idea first formed in his mind. The white light of a higher-powered inspiration shone through the prism of his talents and experiences to shower the world with a rainbow of smiles. Among the greatest crackers of the Prism Code is George Washington Carver, sometimes called the inventor of the peanut. Though Carver was born a Missouri slave, his research developed 325 products from peanuts, 108 applications for sweet potatoes, 75 products derived from pecans, and over 500 dyes and pigments from 28 different plants. More important, in cracking the Prism Code, he achieved his destiny. The products he derived from the peanut and the soybean revolutionized the economy of the South by liberating it from an excessive dependence on cotton. By 1938, 5 years before his death, peanuts had become a $200 million industry and a chief product of Alabama. Cracking your Prism Code is a process that you'll learn in Chapter 5 to help you transform your simple idea into enlightened, wealth-producing products, ideas, and services.
The Angel Code. You can't do it alone. You need a team. Fortunately, there are people who are destined to be on your team. They'll help you fulfill your destiny, and you'll help them fulfill theirs. They bring the missing pieces of the puzzle. Your picture is not complete without them. How do you find them? How will they be attracted to you? How will you know you can trust them? This is all part of cracking the Angel Code. We use the word angel because it conveys the feeling you'll get when you find the right team players to contribute their expertise and their experience. You'll feel as if they're heaven sent. And who is to say that they aren't? We'll show you how to form an inner circle, your core team. We'll show you how to add a virtual circle of imaginary geniuses to tap into their brilliance. We'll show you how to create a winner circle of 101 key contacts and resources to help you pull off your ideas. We'll show you that every resource you'll need is at most 3 telephone calls away. We'll show you how to tap into the circle of life, the 6.5 billion customers who populate this planet. And finally, we'll show you how to access the eternal circle, the invisible angel network. Your team is formed of angels, visible and invisible. Do angels exist? Do they want you to succeed? Will they help you?
Our allies'
These are questions that you will answer by cracking the Angel Code.
More work?
Speaking of angel codes, Oprah Winfrey cracked her code when she created the Angel Network in 1997. Since then, her donations from celebrities and viewers of her program have donated millions of dollars to charity. She has been given the stewardship of great wealth because she has the higher power purpose to use it to enlighten the lives of others.
The Star Code. This very moment, thousands of enlightened customers are waiting for you to create an enlightened enterprise to serve them. If you build it, will they come? If it's your destiny to do it, if your idea is higher powered, if your team is attracted by serendestiny, then yes, they will come. They will most definitely come. The 1989 movie, Field of Dreams, tells the story of an Iowa farmer, Ray Kinsella, played by Kevin Costner. One day in his cornfield, Ray hears a voice. If you build it, he will come. And with it comes a vision of a baseball diamond in the middle of his Iowa cornfield. He follows the voice and builds the baseball diamond, and then the hard facts of life intrude. Pressured by bankruptcy, Ray is faced with a decision. Should he sell his farm or continue to pursue his dream? At this point in the movie, James Earl Jones delivers a spine-tingling soliloquy.
People will come, Ray. They'll come to Iowa for reasons they can't even fathom. They'll turn up your driveway, not knowing for sure why they're doing it. They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children longing for the past. Of course, we won't mind if you look around, you'll say. It's only $20 per person. They'll pass over the money without even thinking about it. Where does money they have, peace they lack. And they'll walk out in the bleachers and shirt sleeves on a perfect afternoon. And they'll find they have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines where they sat when they were children and cheered their heroes, and they'll watch the game. And it will be as if they dipped themselves in magic waters. The memories will be so thick, they'll have to brush them from their faces. Oh, people will come, Ray. People will most definitely.
As the closing movie credits roll, headlights from a long line of cars are seen flowing toward the isolated baseball diamond in the middle of the Iowa cornfields. People are definitely coming. That's fine for a movie, but how do you make that happen in the real world? As someone once asked us, instead of fishing for customers, how do you get them to jump into your boat? Cracking the Star Code is the process of discovering and serving a very special group of customers, treating them like the stars they are. How would higher power treat them so they would keep coming back and bring their friends with them? Of all the codes to crack, this one is the easiest to envision and the hardest one to regularly implement. The success rate of startup businesses would soar if each new entrepreneur would simply focus on cracking this one code.
Each of the codes requires special code cracking techniques. And imagine how your life will transform when, one by one, you crack them all. Imagine waking each morning knowing that you are on your destined path. Imagine yourself as a leader of an enterprise that earns staggering profits by delivering enlightened products and services. Imagine an enlightened word of mouth that drives an endless stream of new customers through your doors. Imagine a team of people trained to take care of them, not just traditional employees, but angels. For them, work is not work, but sheer joy. Imagine the charitable work you could do with the profits that flow to you. Imagine rising every morning as the sun warms the new day and realizing that your enlightened enterprise is blessing you and everyone it serves. You've got it all. Friends and fortune, health and wealth, influence and affluence. Would you like that? Here's how you get it. Destiny, prism, angel, star.
Chapter 3, the Destiny Code. Codes are everywhere. Zip codes, gate codes, area codes, bar codes, PIN codes, passcodes. secret codes, postal codes, country codes, Morse codes, membership codes, security codes, color codes, genetic codes, entry codes, exit codes. You can't live without codes. Codes give you entry to your house, your garage, your car, your office, your telephone messages, your computer, your email. Have you ever been locked out because you forgot or lost a code? Without the right codes, you can't get in. There are dozens of types of coding devices. Numbered keypads, membership cards, garage door clickers, uniforms, name badges, registration stickers, passwords, tickets. What is the purpose of all the various coding methods? To restrict access to unauthorized people. In war, messages are encoded or encrypted before being sent to protect essential information from falling into enemy hands. Then the same messages are decoded or deciphered when they are received at the other end.
One night while babysitting, a grandfather passed his granddaughter's room and overheard her repeating the alphabet in an oddly reverent fashion. "What on earth are you up to?" he asked. "I'm saying my prayers," explained the little girl. "But I can't think of exactly the right words tonight, so I'm just saying all the letters. God will put them together for me because He knows what I'm thinking."
Some codes operate outside your awareness. Your computer automatically encodes your email into binary code and transmits it over the internet to the receiving computer, where the zeros and ones are unscrambled, reassembled, deciphered, and decoded, and voila! Some codes you consciously create for yourself, such as the security code for your new burglar alarm system or the PIN code for your new ATM card. Some codes are freely given to you, zip codes and area codes, or the gate code for your new home in a gated community. The most important codes in life may be the ones you discover. These are the hidden messages floating around you, just waiting for you to decipher them, to become aware of them. Higher power is sending each of us messages every minute of every day. It's our destiny to decipher them. Crack these codes and the world is yours. Higher power has a mission for you if you choose to accept it. First, you've got to find it. Flipping through the channels of life's everyday transmissions, you vaguely sense that there is something big that you're supposed to be doing with your life. You feel that something is missing in the equation of your life, yet you're not quite sure what. It has something to do with peace and happiness and making a difference. And prosperity, yes, lots of prosperity. You were meant to be on TV, not watching TV. The secrets are hidden right in front of you if you could just decode them. What if you could see your life through the eyes of the richest person in the world? Mike Murphy, a retired VP from Microsoft, described what it was like to be in meetings with Bill Gates. He says, "My own mind works like an ordinary spreadsheet, a few columns wide and a few columns deep. But Bill Gates' spreadsheet is 1,000 columns wide and 1,000 columns deep, plus a third dimension of 1,000 columns out. He seems to be able to see it all at once and connects insignificant data in one cell with unimportant chunks of information in another cell. Then he links the two cells into a brilliant aha. It's amazing." What if you could see your life through the eyes of a billionaire? Well, there's something even better. Imagine seeing it through higher power eyes. Imagine that. With infinite awareness, imagine how everything might look different. Through higher power eyes, every opportunity you see has infinite potential because you immediately perceive how to parlay it into the most profitable future. Every product you try to market has infinite exposure because you know the names and addresses of at least 500 million people who want it, need it, can afford it, and are ready to buy it now. Every person you meet is 6 degrees of separation from every resource you need. You don't just see a person. You immediately discern that this is the friend of the sister of the gardener's cousin who is the personal trainer to the president of the company that wants to buy every product you can manufacture for the next 10 years. Higher power is infinitely aware of every connection. With so much infinite awareness, why doesn't higher power just give us the codes? Wouldn't that be simpler, easier? Yes, but ease is not what life is all about. Life is a university. We came here to get our doctorate degree. Would you respect a college professor who stood in front of his freshman math class and said the following? "Welcome, class. This is going to be the easiest semester of your life. No lectures, no classwork, no homework. The final exam will be a snap. Just take this cheat sheet with you to the test and copy down the answers and you'll get an automatic A." Students might flock to such a class, but once the administration got wind of it, that professor's destiny would be a new career. Something like, "Would you like fries with that?"
I am here.
The term doctor comes from Latin, meaning teacher. There are two types of teachers, informational teachers and transformational teachers. The majority of our teachers are informational teachers. They lecture, you take notes. You take the test and then immediately throw away your notes and forget everything you've learned. Higher power is a master transformational teacher. The notes you take in HP's class are written on your heart and imprinted in every cell in your body. Discovery is the prime method of teaching. Questions prod discovery. Sometimes it's not very fun. Most of the time, it's not very easy. Yet it's always highly instructive. To help you discover the hidden codes of your destiny, higher power gives hints and clues. Higher power knows your perfect path, but won't deprive you of the joy of figuring it out for yourself.
A 3-year-old boy is playing outside in the backyard. He walks to the back screen door and tries to open it, but the door handle is just out of his reach. He can see his father inside on the couch. His father doesn't immediately get up and open the door. His father gives him encouragement through the screen door. "You can do it." The child tries over and over again to open the door. In frustration, he begins to cry for help. The father comes over to the screen door, points to the wooden box next to the door. "Get the box, drag it over here." With great effort, the boy drags the wooden crate and stands on it to reach the door handle. Then he reaches his small fingers into the door crack, pries it with all his might until the door finally opens wide enough to let him in. He rushes into his father's arms triumphantly. "I did it!" The father smiles. "Well done, my son. I knew you could do it."
So what does all of this talk about destiny have to do with making some serious money? Well, as Robert Schuller, he's the famous televangelist of the Hour of Power and Crystal Cathedral, put it, money flows to great ideas. Do you want money to flow to you? If so, you need to discover the great idea that will define your life, the idea you were destined to find. For MBH, that's Mark Victor Hansen, it was chicken soup. For RGA, that's Robert G. Allen, it was nothing down. Although we didn't know it at the time, we now realize how each of these ideas were downloaded into our minds. They were higher power sets. These were not ordinary ideas. They were mega. Those two crazy ideas have generated over $1 billion each. That's gross income, not net. Substantial nonetheless.
Brandon Barnum. When you borrow $1 million, the bank owns you. When you borrow over $100 million, you own the bank, says Brandon Barnum, creative financier par excellence. Brandon has big ideas. He wants to refinance the world's debt and save the world with philanthropy through his new foundation, Giving Globally. Brandon has learned to return by tithing and giving. He is so enthusiastic that he wants to inspire givers to double their giving too, and to help create $1 trillion in tithing by 2014 AD. He is like Andrew Carnegie, who said, "I'll spend the first half of my life earning a vast fortune, the second half of my life giving it away, while doing the least harm and the most good." Although he is only 34 years old, Brandon Barnum owns an exceedingly fast-growing company, Integrity Commercial Lending, headquartered in Portland, Oregon, and doing business worldwide. He loves to speak, teach, and inspire people, especially young people, to convey the idea that lenders are your friends and want to serve you and your future. He and his team delight in assisting people to achieve what they didn't know they could. He funds businesses and real estate in innovative ways to provide the money they need. One example of a company that he is helping to finance is Plantation Timber, a company producing the world's fastest growing tree called Paulownia. Paulownias are unique, lightweight hardwoods that originate in China, where because they do not rot, they're used to build boat docks. The trees can drink 80 gallons of polluted water per day, cleaning the air and soil simultaneously through a process called photoremediation. Capable of growing up to 30 feet in a single year, Paulownia trees are the hope of a world that desperately needs both hardwoods and a clean environment. According to Stanford biologist Dr. Paul Ehrlich, the world currently has a shortfall of 18 billion trees that are the lungs of the earth. Inspired by the potential of Plantation Timber, Brandon personally invested in the company and found a clever way to fund it. Plantation Timber pre-sells contracts for future full-grown trees. These contracts are financed by life insurance company annuities before the trees are even planted. The insurance companies make lease payments to the tree farmers. Our planet gets reforested. Global warming is addressed. Trees are grown and ready for multiple uses, and money is circulated in a conscious way. Everyone wins and no one loses. Where normal financiers tremble at such thinking, Brandon revels in the possibilities to make the world a better place using our great free enterprise system. Normal loans require backup assets, financial report and/or equities, stocks, funds, collateral, cash, or cash flows to make a loan. Brandon and his team are dedicated to thinking through all the many possibilities for putting money together and teaching the borrower what to do and how to do it. Brandon happily teaches borrowers how to go to the bank, make pledges to maximize their personal credit profile and raise their rating, just as in the automobile and real estate industry. There's no limit, Brandon feels, to how big his operation can become as he serves ever more people ever better. He revels in the speed of his loans, some as fast as 3 days. Some of the current projects that he's working on range from a $10 million hotel purchase to a $600 million construction project in Venezuela. Brandon's vision for the world is his brainchild, Giving Globally. Brandon spent a week-long vacation in Maui, writing out all his lifetime goals, the biggest of which is to double global philanthropy by January 8, 2020. He is committed to building relationships with the richest and most influential people in the world, challenging them to do more and give more to the world's less fortunate. Giving Globally encompasses all philanthropies and will provide them with cutting-edge web-based tools to expand their outreach and impact. Brandon has created a dream team that works together to create more financial and volunteer support for needy causes than has ever been raised before. He intends to use the power of publicity and great media to inspire and challenge them. He plans to introduce people to causes and philanthropies that make a lasting difference for those in need. He wants to take individuals on mission trips so they can see just how great the need is and experience what a profound difference volunteerism makes, both for the volunteer as well as for those they are helping. Giving Globally is creating an international communication system to help people connect with a cause that they're passionate about and receive updates about the work they are supporting. One of the philanthropies that Brandon is vitally active in is Northwest Medical Teams International. They send doctors into war zones such as Iraq, Bosnia, Kosovo, and help the homeless, hungry, and hurting. As this is being written, he is helping them raise $100 million. Brandon is a great and generous giver who has learned there's a limit to what he can give, but there's almost no limit to what he can do to inspire others to contribute through his vision, his passion for philanthropy, and his consummate abilities as a public speaker.
The path to great ideas is through great questions. How do you recognize your great idea, the one that will flood your life with prosperity? That's a great question, isn't it? The primary methodology for discovering destiny-driven million-dollar ideas is asking specific, targeted questions to a mind that is prepared to receive the highest answer. Your brain is the most powerful, versatile computer on the planet. Touch your forehead and say to yourself, this is the most powerful computer on the planet. Your powerful computer brain is activated and energized by asking powerful questions. If you constantly ask yourself, why am I so bad with money? Your brain will oblige by giving you a host of reasons. If you ask yourself instead, how can I get better at handling my money and make it grow? Your brain will also help you uncover solutions. As Gene Houston, co-director of the Foundation for Mind Research, has said, the primary purpose of your brain is to do exactly what you tell it to do. If you ask yourself disempowering questions, you'll receive answers that reinforce your sense of powerlessness. If you ask yourself empowering questions, you'll get powerful answers. If you ask yourself, why haven't I discovered my destiny yet? Your brain will catalog a list of excuses. If you ask yourself questions like, what do I love to do? What am I good at? What is important to me? What does higher power want me to do with my life? The vague outline of your destiny will begin to materialize in the fog. Sometimes the answer distills on your soul like dew. Sometimes it comes in a flash of blinding insight. How did an overflowing bathtub cause Archimedes to shout, Eureka! I have found it! How did a falling apple shake the concept of gravity from the brain of Sir Isaac Newton? What is it going to take for your destiny-saturated million-dollar idea to get shaken loose? Here are a few questions. What does your million-dollar idea look like? Could you recognize your enlightened million-dollar idea if it flashed in front of your eyes? Do you have a sense that you are destined to be the conduit for some ideas that could improve the world?
I am ready.
Does higher power know what your ideal million-dollar idea is? Are you the kind of person to whom higher power could entrust an enlightened million-dollar idea? Would you be charitable with the prophets?
What is your wish?
Our allies' town.
Have you ever talked yourself out of acting upon a million-dollar idea? How could you be more receptive to the ideas that you're not noticing? Where have you been successful? How could you be even more successful? What do you need to do to take a quantum leap forward in your progress? The answers to these questions come when you pay attention to the big rocks. The big rocks. Stephen Covey shares a story in his book, First Things First, that made a profound impact on us. He wrote, I attended a seminar once where the instructor was lecturing on time. At one point he said, okay, it's time for a quiz. He reached under the table and pulled out a wide-mouthed gallon jar. He set it on the table next to a platter with some fist-sized rocks in it. How many of these rocks do you think we can get in the jar, he asked. After we made our guess, he said, okay, let's find out. He set one rock in the jar, then another, then another. I don't remember how many he got in, but he got the jar full. Then he asked, is that jar full? Everyone looked at the rocks and said, yes. Then he said, He reached under the table and pulled out a bucket of gravel. Then he dumped some gravel in and shook the jar, and the gravel went in all the little spaces left by the big rocks. And then he grinned and said once more, is the jar full? By this time we were on to him. Probably not, he said. Good, he replied. And he reached under the table and brought out a bucket of sand. He started dumping the sand in, and it went in all the little spaces left by the rocks and the gravel. Once more he looked at us and said, is the jar full? No, we all roared. He said, good. And he grabbed a pitcher of water and began to pour it in. He got something like a quart of water in that jar. Then he said, well, what's the point? Somebody said, well, there are gaps, and if you really work at it, you could always fit more into your life. No, he said, that's not the point. The point is this. If you hadn't put these big rocks in first, would you ever have gotten any of them in? What are the big rocks of an enlightened day? Each day is a microcosm of an entire life. The alpha of your day is when the sun rises, giving birth to a new day. The omega is when night falls and you close your eyes to sleep. In between alpha and omega is your time to create a life. So start each day with alpha and end each day with omega. And everything else will just fall into place. When the sun rises and sets on your life, the big rocks will be in your jar. Alpha begins by recognizing your eternal being, inseparably connected to your higher power. Your first meaningful act upon rising is to honor your higher power by studying and pondering the sacred words meant to mentor you to a more meaningful life. Then meditate and/or pray to see the perspective of your life through higher power eyes. When we use the term big rocks, it represents a daily regimen of preparing your mind to question, receive, recognize, and act upon empowering, enlightened ideas. The three essential practices involve the 3 B's: your being, your brain, and your body. We call this regimen 3B.
Wait till you see me. I am here.
3B or not 3B? That is the question.
Show me the path.
You say you want to be financially successful? How can you hope to create wealth without connecting with the author of all wealth?
Hello.
If only 5% of startups succeed, you need help. At every juncture of civilization's progression, there are million, billion, and trillion-dollar breakthrough ideas. Higher power has already reserved your shining star idea. Higher power has galaxies of star ideas waiting to illuminate the world. Being. Your being, your spirit, your essence, your life force, that spark of eternity that resides in you is so wise. Where does your spirit come from? Was your spirit ignited into existence from the union of sperm and egg? Or did your spirit exist before the union? As Wordsworth wrote, our birth is but a sleep and a forgetting. The soul that rises with us, our life's star, hath had elsewhere its setting, and cometh from afar, not in entire forgetfulness, and not in utter nakedness, but trailing clouds of glory do we come from God, who is our home. William Wordsworth, Ode, Intimations of Immortality. What kind of glory did we drag with us? What genius school were we pupils of? Are our talents and gifts just DNA-coded, genetic, blueprinted tendencies? Or are they learned traits from previous existences? We believe that the genius of your spirit is immeasurably wise, unfathomably profound, and indescribably brilliant. How do you tap into your genius? Body. The next rock is your body. Take care of it. Your body is such an amazing machine made up of trillions of cells. The wisdom in each of these microscopic cells is staggering. At your conception, the division of your first few cells, the so-called stem cells, contained the entire blueprint for your entire body. The you that emerged is miraculous. Your lungs breathe 20,000 times a day. Your heart beats 100,000 times a day. Your blood circulates around your body 1,000 times a day. All of this just happens without a single conscious thought on your part. Imagine how little you would get done if you had to consciously direct the systems of your body. Circulatory, immune, respiratory, nervous, digestive, elimination, lymphatic. When you exercise, you enliven, invigorate, and endorphin the magnificent systems of your magnificent body. Prayer, deep thought, spiritual retreats, pondering, asking, church, candles, incense, dreaming, near-death experiences. How do you tap into your body wisdom? Exercise? Sports? Massage?
Is someone in
a shower? Breathing? Jogging? A bath? Walks in nature? Stretching? Brain. The gnarled 3-pound mass of mushy tissue inside your skull regulates everything. Is everything you've ever experienced permanently recorded in your cerebral computer? You can draw from your vast inputs to conjure up wisdom and intuition and thoughts. What can you do to fine-tune this quantum space? Visualization? Certain fragrances? Multimedia? Listening to music? Other-handed writing? Reading biographies? Nutrition? Questioning? Or journaling? As Ezra Taft Benson wrote, some of the greatest battles will be fought within the silent chambers of your own soul. Brain times body times being. It's you cubed. When you stretch your brain, your body, and your being, a sacred space is created for receiving enlightened ideas, destined to change your world and the world around you. Thus prepared, you're more highly sensitive to the best ideas, more aware of the opportunities hidden all around you. If codes are designed to keep out unauthorized people, 3B activates your membership code. You're a member. You belong. Who got the idea for flights? Wilbur and Orville Wright. It was a $1 trillion idea. Who got the idea for the telephone? Alexander Graham Bell. It was also a $1 trillion idea. Who got the idea for electricity? Thomas Edison. It was a $1 trillion idea. Who got the idea for personal computers? Jobs, Wozniak, Gates. It was a $1 trillion idea. Are you ready for an idea like that? When you get up in the morning, put the big rocks in first. Create your own special ritual. For MVH, it's an hour of meditation most mornings at 4 a.m., followed by some treadmill time or weight training while watching empowering videos. For RGA, almost every morning starts out the same. Up at 6 a.m., 30 minutes of scripture study, 15 minutes of kneeling prayer, followed by a 2-mile walk on the treadmill while talking journal entries and ahas into a mini tape recorder. And deepen, and heighten, and broaden, and widen, and brighten, and enlighten yourself. Triangulate your life to spark the best ideas. Calibrate your soul to vibrate at the pitch of the tuning force of the universe. Ask your higher mentor empowering questions and wait for the still, small answer. More often than not, higher power answers your questions with another question, the still, small question, and sends you back to do some more research. Most people don't do this. They just open their eyes in the morning and dodge the onrushing cars on the freeway of life. There is a peaceful place that you can reach that separates you from the onrushing traffic, that gives you breathing room. Take a deep breath and centers you, grounds you, prepares your perspective. In the sweet spot between the overlapping layers of body, brain, and being, a great idea is brewing. It could take money, serious money, to launch your great idea. In the next chapter, we'll show you where to find it. It might be closer than you think.
For now.
Our warriors have engaged.
Chapter 4. How to turn your buried treasures into millions. One thing can stop your great idea cold. Lack of money. True? It takes money to make money, right? The biggest reason why 95% of startup enterprises fail is because they are undercapitalized. Agreed? We'll revisit these questions at the end of this chapter, but for now, let's assume the obvious. The typical underfunded startup business just runs out of cash before it gets to its destination. If that's true, do you have enough resources to launch your enlightened enterprise? Let's find out.
Duval Heck. The 3-hour commute to and from Orange County to Los Angeles by car was becoming tedious for Duval Heck, even with the radio on. With a Stanford University education and a body honed by successful pursuit of an Olympic gold medal in rowing, which he won in Australia in 1956, he was looking for a way to put those hours in a car to good use. He discovered that an electronic engineer named Robert Halverson on the East Coast had taken the decline and fall of the Roman Empire and other public domain classics, taped them, and was selling an 8-audio cassette book for $80. Duvall listened, learned, and was positively hooked, but he believed rental was the key to large-scale distribution. An idea bloomed in his mind to record full-length readings of all the great and best-selling books and call it Books on Tape. He was busy and successful in the securities business, but the idea kept bugging him. He had the energy, vision, and desire to make this vision happen on his own. He acquired subsidiary rights for a handful of books. The publishers, not seeing their value, sold them for virtually nothing. He hired out-of-work Hollywood actors with great voices to record best-selling books in unabridged audio editions. He then rented them through the mail with an enclosed return envelope. This combination of elements had never been tried before, and as it happened, rent by mail, credit cards, and 800 numbers, Walkman recorders, and car tape decks were all simultaneously becoming available. The agents and publishers who agreed to work with him helped the startup by granting rights for extremely modest upfront payments. The first year, working late into the night, Duvall Heck grossed $17,000 using 1-inch ads in the Los Angeles Times. The press was friendly and started creating momentum. By year 8, he had a company that was generating $1 million a year, and Books on Tape had a commanding lead over the competition. When Random House came knocking at his door in 2001 and